Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to Wicked Wednesday, where we discuss all the new comics that's coming out this week. Every Wednesday is like Christmas for us nerds because that's when the new comics come out. These are my recommendations for the best books to pick up on Wednesday. But here's some other information first. This is another reminder that I do have an eBay page where I sell comics called One Stop Thrift Shop. I have a holiday sale going on right now with prices from 10% up to 40% off on certain books. There's great stuff out there like X-Men 267, which is the second appearance of Gambit, Marvel Age number 99, which is the first published appearance of the Infinity Gauntlet. Be sure to check it out. This sale runs through December 20th. Links in the comics section. Warning, this week's comic review has some frank and explicit language. Now on to New Comic Day. And DC Comics has given us Bane Conquest number 8 of a 12-part miniseries. It's written and drawn by the original creative team that created Bane in the first place. Next up is Batman number 36, and this is part 1 of a new storyline called Super Friends, and of course Superman shows up, and that's always cool to see them hang out. There's a cover B variant which looks like this. Batman comes out every 2 weeks and it's a must pick up. Next up is Batman White Knight number 3 of an 8-part miniseries. This is an alternative universe Batman where the Joker becomes the hero after he's cured of his insanity, and people of Gotham are just sick of Batman and his heavy-handed tactics, and foolishly put their faith in the Joker, of course. This maxi-series has proven very popular. Issue number 1 is going to a 3rd print, and issue number 2 is also coming out this week in a 2nd print. Next up is Harley and Ivy Meet Betty and Veronica number 3. This is DC Comics teaming up with Archie Comics, of course. There's nothing serious about this whatsoever. It's intended to be funny, where Harley and Ivy team up to try to kidnap Betty and Veronica. This is what the cover B looks like. Issue number 1 was my pick of the week for October 4th, thanks to this gorgeous cover from Adam Hughes. Next up is The Jetsons number 2, and yes, this is based on the cartoon series with a few up-to-date twists on the characters. They've aged up his son a little bit, and his wife is now a NASA scientist. This cover B variant looks terrific. It's drawn by Dan Panosian, who's not a big name artist, but if he keeps producing art like this, he's gonna put his name up there. Next up, let's see what Marvel's up to, and it's not that much. They're pretty slow for December. The first up is going to be Amazing Spider-Man Venom Incorporated Alpha number 1. This storyline is going to feature all the people that's been infected by the Venom symbiote at some point, including Peter Parker, Eddie Brock, and Flash Thompson. In my book, the Joker is the greatest villain of all time, but the Eddie Brock Venom character is probably going to be in the top 5, and he could go higher if he's depicted correctly in a movie. They've cast Tom Hardy to play the lead role in a standalone movie, and I'm crossing my fingers that Sony gets this right. Please be getting help from Marvel. Please be getting help from Marvel. The first time they tried to do Venom, they seriously blew it. But anyway, they're kicking off this comic with some real heavy hitters on the variants, including Audie Granov on this one. And not to be outdone, Gabriel Del Otto also contributes a cover which looks like this. Pre-sale on eBay, prices are all over the place. I expect the print runs to be through the roof, so don't spend too much. There'll be more out there than you think. Next up is Black Bolt number 8, one of the most underrated series out in comics right now. Black Bolt has just escaped space prison, and he returns to Earth, and you can see from this cover that things are even worse here. Marvel is also releasing the trade paperback of Black Bolt, which contains the first 6 issues of this highly acclaimed series. Yes, the Inhumans television show was a complete disaster, but don't hold it against this book. It's really good. Next up is Hawkeye number 13. Of course, this is going to guest star both Hawkeyes, the Clint Barton that we know and the new Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. The look and feel of this book is like it's written for a girl about 12 to 15 years old. I believe they're grooming the Kate Bishop character for live action in the future. It's going to come with 4 different covers, including this lenticular homage swipe, which is showing love to the matte fraction version of Hawkeye. Next up is Spider-Man issue number 234. There's the Amazing Spider-Man title for Peter Parker, but the one that just says Spider-Man is going to be Miles Morales. This is a 2nd print variant where he takes on his version of the Sinister Six. Issue 235 first print also comes out this week. It looks outstanding. They're really building up a nice rogues gallery for young Miles. It's only a matter of time before he shows up in the MCU, and that will be a good thing. Next up is Star Wars Darth Vader number 9. It's Lord Vader. It's Star Wars. Of course you want it. No further explanation needed. Next up is True Believers Enter the Phoenix number 1. This is a $1 reprint of X-Men number 101, which is the first appearance of Jean Grey as the Phoenix, one of the most swiped covers ever, and the start of one of the most epic storylines in comic history, ending in issue 137 where she dies. Well, Of course, this is comics, nerd, no one ever really dies. A lot of people have never read this story because the original issue is so expensive to have. So to get it for $1 in the reprint, this is great that Marvel is doing this. I would pick up a couple of copies while you edit, one to read and a few to put away for the later time. Although a reprint, this is almost certain to go up in value in the future. A Dark Phoenix movie is in development right now. We could get a movie as early as 2019 and anything related to the Phoenix is going to blow up. Marvel is also releasing a True Believers Phoenix Presents Cyclops and Marvel Girl, which is a reprint of X-Men number 48 from the Silver Age. I don't expect for this to be as hot as the 101 reprint, but you should pick this up as well. Next up is our report on independent comics and small publishers. First up is Jupiter Jet number 1 from Action Lab Entertainment. It's a story of a teenage girl with a jetpack who steals from the rich and gives to the poor. Action Lab must believe that this will make an impact because they're shipping it with 3 different covers. Next up is the Mighty Crusaders number 1, and this is from Archie Comics. You didn't think they did Heroes, did you? But they dab into it a little bit. It kind of reminds me of those early 1990s Image Comics heroes. Next up is Rocco's Modern Life number 1. This is Boom Studios in partnership with Nickelodeon. I don't think this is for everyone, but if you're a fan, this is a nice pickup for issue number 1 of this character. And it's going to ship with 5 different covers, by the way. Next up is The Consultant number 1 of a 4-part miniseries from Danger Zone Comics. It's a story of a former Navy SEAL who does the dirty work for superheroes, keeping his clients out of the papers and off of death row. I like that premise, and I think this is going to be very hard to find because the print runs on Danger Zone are already so low, usually below 5K. It looks like it's going to be a dark comedy, sort of like Get Shorty in the movies or something like that. Next up is Rasputin number 2 from Dark Horse Comics. This is basically a Hellboy prequel. You got black magic, the occult, Nazis, all type of crazy stuff going on before Hellboy shows up. There's going to be a future Hellboy reboot movie starring David Harbour, so I think they're trying to lay some more of the groundwork before the movie comes out. Next up is Red Sonja number 11 from Dynamite Entertainment, and I am absolutely loving with that cover. She's a fierce feminine warrior in a inappropriate costume. And we've been loving it since this character was introduced in 1973. She's written by a woman these days, so it's not going to be so exploitive. The costume stays. By the way, there's always going to be a cosplay variant of the Red Sonja comic, and this is what it looks like this month. Next up is Jim and the Holograms Dimensions number 1. The movie was absolutely horrible. They should have never made it, but the comic adaptations have been stellar for Jim fans. You'll be proud of Jim in the comics if you like that character. Next up, let's see what Image is up to. They always deliver, including Extremity number 9. I talk about this book every month that it comes out. It's definitely worth checking out. It's about a female artist who gets her hand chopped off and she becomes her tribe's fiercest warrior when a battle of civilizations breaks out. The writer, artist, and creator was discovered at a random Comic-Con by some Image execs. They loved his work and they published him, so dreams do come true. And that would be Daniel Warren Johnson. Congrats to him. And remember, this is Image, so he gets to own his intellectual property. Next up is The Fix number 10. If you never picked this up, you probably need to go back and get some trade paperbacks. It's a very dark comedy about some crooked cops in Los Angeles. I named issue number 1 the top comic of 2016. It's a real world, non-superhero dark comedy. So if that's your type of thing, then you'll love this. Next up is Padisro number 1. It's about a man who returned to his city with a mysterious device with massive, overwhelming power. Is it me, or does this cover look like the Infinity Gauntlet? You know, that whole Thanos thing. With Marvel's Infinity War so highly anticipated, I wonder if they're trying to take a bite out of that. Next up is Shirtless Bear Fighter, which is going to trade paperback, collecting all 5 issues of this hilarious miniseries. Here's the premise. Man raised by bears. Man betrayed by bears. Man seeks out revenge on those bears. I found it to be knee-slapping funny. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I loved it. This is clearly a spoof on ultra-masculine characters like Old Man Logan. He even looks like the Hugh Jackman version of Old Man Logan. And I don't think that's a coincidence. Next up is Sleepless number 1. And man, this looks gorgeous. This art just looks tremendous. This is the story of a noblewoman who's protected by a sleepless knight. And danger is around every corner as the king is coronated. I don't know if the story is going to be any good, but all the advanced art looks so good on this that I just have to get it. It's going to be an all-female team. The writer, the artist, the colorist, all female. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I'm a big advocate for female creators. They're doing some superior work and it's getting overlooked a lot of times. This looks great to me. I definitely will be picking this up. Next up is Witchblade #1. Image has been producing this character in comics since 1995, on and off. The Witchblade is a mystical artifact that grants the woman wielding it extraordinary powers. A live-action feature film of this was announced in 2009, but it never materialized. But the comic series has always been very good. This is a good jumping on point for it. That's it for Image, but you know what's next? Do you? Do you really? Next up is the speculation pick of the week. And that's going to be Barbarella #1 from Dynamite Entertainment. And for those of you who have no idea what Barbarella is, I need to explain it. It's going to be based on a 1968 movie starring Jane Fonda, which is a intentionally campy, drugged out looking LSD using cult classic, no doubt. The film turns 50 years old next year, and it was way before its time, and it got away with a lot of stuff. Jane Fonda, who was pretty damn hot back in them days, was the lead character, Barbarella, a space adventurer. To be 50 years old, they pushed the envelope a lot on this because they had imagery that was very sexual, there was nudity, erotic scenes, lesbian scenes, even some BDSM-like torture scenes. A lot of people think that 50 Shades of Grey took fetish mainstream, but Barbarella was already doing this almost 50 years ago. Look at this torture device they got her in. Movies like Austin Powers uses imagery that's influenced by Barbarella, and characters like the fembots are 100% influenced by Barbarella and that type of late 1960s LSD tripping counterculture type of media. The movie has an awesome opening credit scene where she strips in anti-gravity, which has been copied by a lot of people. Dynamite must feel really good about what this book is going to do because it's going to ship with 17 different covers. That doesn't include store variants that probably will be out there. All they need to do is get Jane Fonda to go out on a press tour and sign this book, and that would be golden. Jane turns 80 years old on December 21st, so she's a golden girl. Get it? Golden. But anyway, find the best cover of your choosing. I'll put some links in the description about Barbarella so you can learn more about it. I'm a big fan of campy movies from that era, like Planet of the Apes as well. But wait, that's not all. We still got a few more books to talk about, including Trump's Titans versus the Fidget Spinner Force #2 from King Spot Entertainment. As you can see, this is meant to be completely ridiculous. They've already issued a Trump's Titans comic which sold out everywhere, so they're going back to the well, which is understandable. Regardless of your politics, you have to agree that Trump is a very easy character to spoof. Next up is Solar Flare Season 2 #2. This is based on a not so distant future where a solar flare literally takes out all the satellites, telecommunications, and electricity. And we're reduced back to the Stone Age very quickly and how the Earth has to survive this. This is actually pretty scary because this actually could happen. We're so reliant on technology right now, we couldn't exist without it. Next up is Faith's Winter Wonderland Special #1 from Valiant Comics. She's based in the Harbinger universe and she has the power of flight. And she's become a breakout character because she represents inclusion in comics. She's a heavy-set, comical, nerdy character. So based on her nature, they can do all kinds of silly stuff with her that they couldn't do with their other more serious characters. You know the drill. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so others learn about comic power. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for a new comic day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. And don't forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.